Danny Garcia defeats Lamont Peterson on a 12-round majority decision. Now, I got to say right off the bat, I had Lamont Peterson winning this fight, all right? But what I will say is the early rounds particularly, maybe even the first half of the fight, a lot of the rounds were open to interpretation because there wasn't a lot of clean shots landed from either man. And in those rounds, score it to whoever you want. It was mostly Danny Garcia coming forward and Peterson on the back foot pretty much sticking and moving. So you could have had Danny Garcia up after 7 rounds. You could have had Peterson up after 7 rounds, or you could have, like me, had the fight even after 8 rounds. I had it even after 8. Because although Peterson's body language was more confident, he looked the happier fighter in there throughout the fight, Peterson. He looked the more confident, he looked the happier, and that's because he was dictating the action. When Peterson wanted the fight to be a boxing match where he was sticking and moving around, then it was a boxing match. When he wanted it to be a standoff jabbing contest, it was a standoff jabbing contest. When he wanted it to be an inside fight, it was an inside fight. So Peterson was dictating the action. He was fighting however he wanted to fight. And that was what made him happy in the ring. Danny Garcia was having to follow Peterson and whatever Peterson wanted to do. And so Danny Garcia never looked comfortable throughout the fight, you know, because he was not the one dictating the way the action was going. But with that being said, the bottom line for me is not who looks happy. It's not who's doing all the showboating, because Peterson was doing a lot of showboating. To me, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is who's landing the most clean, effective punches. I couldn't care less if you're doing Ali shuffles and back spins and whatever the hell you're doing. If you ain't landing the most clean, effective punches, you ain't winning the round. Simple. And as I said, in the first half of the fight, there was a lot of rounds that could be open to interpretation, could have gone either way. You could have had either guy up by the halfway stage or after 8 rounds. But really, from round 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Peterson won the majority of those rounds. And that's why I gave this fight to Lamont Peterson by a couple points. But as I say, if other people had given more of those early rounds to Garcia because of the lack of punches landed from Peterson and also the negativity because of the fact he was running rather than actually engaging and trying to make the fight, then maybe people could have had Danny Garcia winning. You know, I can accept people maybe have, in fact, I can accept the judges' scorecards. You know, I think maybe one of them should at least have had Peterson winning though. Actually, yeah. One of them should have at least had Peterson winning. So let me take that back. I can't accept the judges' scorecards because there had to be someone that interpreted Peterson winning this fight. There had to be at least one of the judges interpreted him winning it. But in terms of one judge maybe having it by 1 or 2 points for Garcia, I can accept that, you know. So I can accept people out there thinking Garcia won based on the fact that the early rounds were open to interpretation. But yeah, hard luck, Lamont Peterson. I felt that he won. He obviously came out in the fight unscathed, didn't have a mark on him. Danny Garcia had a bust up eye. And I've heard some people talking about Danny Garcia is not the same fighter since the Matisse fight. I don't think he's any different a fighter. I think he's just the same. I just think it's the styles that he's coming up against. Styles make fights. Go and look at Herrera, you know, what he's done in other fights to other people. Look what he did to Provodnikov. It's a difficult guy to fight, Herrera, you know. He's got skills. He has got skills. And Lamont Peterson, stylistically, he's a very versatile fighter. And Danny Garcia has always struggled with movement. And I keep telling people this. Amir Khan could have won that Danny Garcia fight if he just stuck to his boxing, because Danny Garcia is a terrible front foot fighter. He's terrible on the front foot. If you make Danny Garcia have to come forward, he can't coordinate his feet and his hands to hit a moving target if he's having to move forward. He can't do it. You know, he doesn't throw straight enough shots. It's all hooks and stuff like that, stuff that he really has to plant his feet to be able to throw. He's better on the back foot, much better on the back foot than he is coming forward. But ideally for Danny Garcia, he likes to stand in the middle of the ring and fight. That's how he likes. He likes a stationary fight in the middle of the ring. But giving him movement and moving away from him, Danny Garcia can't cope with that. Khan really could have won that first fight. And if there's a rematch, you would have to favor Khan in a rematch. I'm telling you, I know people love to zone in on Khan's chin and all that. And he's definitely not as versatile as Lamont Peterson. Peterson's better on the inside than Khan. He's probably a bit physically stronger than Khan. But Khan's got quicker hands, and Khan's even better from the outside than Lamont Peterson is. In terms of, you know, hand speed and jab and stuff like that. Maybe Peterson's better with his head movement and shimmying around and all them kind of things. But I would have to figure that Khan would be able to land more shots at long range. More sudden shots from long range against Danny Garcia than Lamont Peterson did. So, you know, you'd have to favor Khan in a rematch with Garcia, man, if he sticks to his boxing. And I think Peterson pretty much laid down the blueprint right there for anyone who's wondering how to beat Danny Garcia. Just give him some movement. He can't do nothing coming forward, this guy. And there was even moments where he visibly showed his frustration. When Peterson was moving around, Garcia stopped in the middle of the ring and said, you know, you come to me. And Peterson, very wisely, continued to move around. He said, oh, you want me to come forward? That obviously shows you're frustrated, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I don't know how much the crowd may have influenced the judges or Al Heyman or whatever. It was a very pro-Garcia crowd from what I heard anyway. And just to show how pro-Garcia it was, there was a moment in the fight where Peterson was showboating. He was doing the Ali shuffle, and the crowd immediately booed. But then Garcia did the Ali shuffle right after it, and the crowd immediately cheered. That just shows how pro-Garcia it was. So, yeah, that's my take on the fight, people. And we'll see what happens to Danny Swift when he moves up in weight. But this guy don't like movement, man. Anyone that's going to move around and give him angles and mess him about, they're going to have a lot of success with Danny Garcia. So drop your comments below, people. Let me know how you felt about the fight. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.